guys, I'm back. I tried to do a live a little bit ago and it really didn't do so well because I messed it up with technical difficulties. And so I decided I'm not going to do a live today. I am going to do a screen recording and then I'll share it with y'all. It will be there. I just can't take questions and answers as quick as I could if I was right there with you live. But I will check back for questions and I'll answer them all. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit more about drawing with points, drawing with bezier, drawing with freehand, and we'll take a look at this little arc tool as well a little bit. First thing I'm going to talk about is drawing with points. Now, you may know that when you drop a point, it sets it down there as such, and you can go around this object and you can make this circle shape with your points. The fewer nodes that you drop, the better. Because when you're talking about dropping a node, it's important to know that that node represents a stitch where the needle has to drop down. And so if you, for example, if you were doing any of the lines or the curves, this doesn't happen with the cusps. You don't automatically drop with the cusp, but any line or any curve, you are going to drop your needle down right at the same exact point as your node is. So if you just went and made nodes all around here really close together, you might have a circle, but then suppose you put a 3.5 millimeter stitch length on there. Well, you can't utilize a 3.5 millimeter stitch length when the nodes are so close together because the needle's got to drop in all those spots. So you're not going to get a nice even stitch like you want. Now, something else to note is with a circle, you only need 4 nodes drop. One at the top, one at the very side on the left, one at the bottom, one at the very side on the right, as such. Then you go up to this little lasso key right here and you click it and it will close the design for you and it'll close the circle. So now you have a pretty good little circle right here. We're going to put a stem stitch on it, but let's get off the design for a minute and see something. It's good, but it's a little wonky, huh? Just a little bit. Let's bring that image back. And by the way, that image is from Sanquinenti Designs. I really like her clip arts and graphic arts. She also does sell some designs that are specifically for SVG and sublimation as well. I have started drawing my own art just because I want to have more unique things. A lot of people buy from her because she is so good. And so sometimes you see a digitizer has the same design as someone else, and that is because of the fact that we've purchased from the same clip art artist. Anyhow, this circle here isn't exact, so I want to go in there and I want to click on the node to highlight it. Now you can see it's highlighted, right? So now I have control with this node right here. Because I laid these all down in their curves, if I move one side, the other side moves too. It's like a scale. So if you put something heavy on this side, the other side goes up because it's lighter. So this is just like a scale. I don't really want that with this because I kind of like how this side is laying, but I don't like how the other side is laying so much. So I'm going to go and I'm going to double click, or excuse me, right click, or I put 2 fingers down on my pad on my MacBook Pro to get this screen up, and I'm going to hit cusp. Now these will move individually instead of as a unit of one. So I'm going to adjust this, and I might just adjust this a little bit as well. And then I would adjust this one as well and just make it perfect. But in reality, let me show you what I'd really do. What I'd really do, I would just delete this whole thing, and I would go up into my library here, handy dandy little library that you have, and I notice that when I click on my buttons, it makes a really loud click noise, and I'm sorry about that. And then I would bring up the circle from the library. There's no reason to redraw a circle when I have one already. So let's just size it a little bit better. Let's just bring it up. Now I hold the shift key down when I size this because then the length and the width remains the same, so you won't get all wonky. Otherwise, actually that is with my Illustrator. Like I said, I'm learning how to draw my own graphic art. So with this one, I do hold the shift key too. It brings it outward perfectly. Starts from the center and pulls it outward. I get a little confused when I'm learning multiple programs. So many things from Illustrator and from Stitch Artist are the same when it comes to shortcuts and different techniques and tools. So a lot of crossover there, but there are some variations that confuse me every once in a while. I'm learning. So let's go ahead and assign that a stitch. I don't really want that to be a stem stitch, so I'm going to come down and let's just give it a beam. And I like, I like this one better, the Sasico, and I like the 3.5. It's a nice long stitch. You can see here, I really like the looks of that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I would probably tweak this a little bit down and get it just a little more exact, but I'm happy with it. So there we drew with points, and then we also just grabbed from the library. Let's draw one of these little highlighters of the flame with our draw with points too. When we draw this one though, what we're going to do is we're going to hold down our command or our control key, and we're going to click on each corner of this design. And then I'm going to go up here to the close button and close it. Now I'm going to give it a little fill. Now the reason I clicked on the command or I held down the command or the control key was to give it a line node. This is the line node right here, and it's a straight line in both directions, this way and this way. We want them all to be straight and squared off. If I used the draw with points button and I did it just straight, without using the control or command button, you can see what happens. It gives it a curve. I could go on here and click on highlight it and right click and go down and hit the line for each of these, and I would accomplish the same thing, but it's just easier to do it right away. In the beginning, as you're laying them down, just hold down that command or that control key on a Mac, and there you have it. So those are a couple of techniques, and this right here is the direction of the stitches. Let's go a little closer, even though we're not really talking about that right now. Let's take a peek at that. The directions of the stitches is controlled by this thing here. So if we want the stitches to go straight up and down, we're going to do it in this direction like this. If we want them to go side to side, is what I want on this, we're going to go this direction here. So this will control the direction of your stitches. You can see as I'm pulling it, the stitches are going that way. And if I let go and then I hold this, you can see them going a little more of a curve. So that is what this little control is for. All right, so we've talked a little bit about the drawing with points. We talked about grabbing designs from the library or shapes from the library. Let's talk briefly on the bezier. So a bezier is going to lay a curve every single dot, but the curve direction depends on where you put it. So when you drop a point, you hold down that mouse and pull. Pull it in the direction of the curve you want and let go, and then lay another one and pull it in the direction you want. And lay another one and pull that one as well. Don't let go of that mouse button until you're happy with the curve. And you just keep going. And if you've got one that you don't really love, like this one here, leave it alone. We'll get back to it, just like you adjust other ones later. Let's just keep the curve going. Remember, don't let go of that mouse until you are happy with where that curve is. And I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to do a little one here, and then I'm going to go up to this lasso and close the design. Now, it's pretty good. We have a couple that are wonky. I think I'm going to get rid of that one altogether. Just double click on it and get rid of it. And I think I'm going to see what happens if I get rid of that one too. And then we're going to work on pulling that one there. And maybe moving this one here a little bit. So now you could have drawn that with points as well, but it's so much smoother and so much easier once you learn how to use the bezier to utilize that tool. And let's just give that a bean stitch too so you can see how that looks. So there you have it. Before I let you go, I want to briefly show you the arc tool as well. This is great for when you're drawing a design that maybe has a shape, a C shape or a half circle or things of that nature. I just drew that just like that. Let's see it again. Let's delete, draw another one, delete. I got a little delay going on. A little bit of a delay going on. Let's just start another one. Okay. So lay a point, lay another point, and then your last point is going to determine the rest of your curve. And there you have it. Now you can assign a stitch to it afterwards. Let's give that, oh, it went away on me. User error, not in my favor. I'm having a delay on this right now, so it's making it a little harder to show you. One. Okay, let's do another one. And then let's do the third to determine the exact arc and shape. There we go. Good. Let's hit enter. And there we have it. And now you can still do your fine-tune adjustments with it by, you can turn it and rotate it with that one. You can even change these angles if you need to by clicking on them and highlighting the node, and suppose you wanted a little wonky over here. But what this tool is really good for is drawing the half circles or almost even full circles. You just need a little opening. You can move it, adjust it, and fine-tune it. So it's just a quicker way of drawing an arc, which is really helpful in a lot of cases. And that is it for now. Just a brief coverage of these tools. If you want to have a more in-depth coverage of how to use these tools and more, I do give one-on-one Zoom lessons, and feel free to email me for more information on that. I'm glad to give it to you, along with some references of those I have been teaching. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.